And I'm looking at this tape and I'm like, there's nobody selling anything. We have this conflict that everybody's talking about World War III and nobody's selling anything.
There's not much panic.
No, there's no panic anywhere. So I'm sitting there looking at this. It's like, once everybody figures out this is nothing, we're going to the moon here.
I thought most traders don't really care what they're trading as long as there's momentum.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's about themes. So if you're in a theme like we are right now with AI stocks, and you're just, you're looking for a short, but the trend is clearly higher, you're going to be looking for that short for weeks or for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks. And then what's going to happen every single time you shoot short, you're going to collect losses until hopefully you're still alive to get the short when it comes. And that's a tough life, man.
That is.
It's a tough life for bears. It's a tough life. Right now, most bears they're hibernating. They've been hibernating and they haven't had any food for a long time.
I remember you used to post your monthly recaps.
Yeah.
I love those. Because I will be like, yo, how does this guy live? 1 month you're up 6 figures, next month you're down 6 figures. I'm just like, this guy is, I don't know if I can live his life.
I've always been that guy. You know what I mean? I've always been that guy. I've always had super volatile, because I'm always going for it. You know what I mean?
Always?
I'm always going for it.
Tape reading is like a big part of what you do.
Absolutely.
What do you have to see in the tape or whatever instruments you're playing to make you go for it?
You
said, put on size, you put on the risk that you allowed for yourself.
So my biggest setup always is the same thing, and it has been the same thing for decades now since I started, which means it's something bigger than just technical analysis and all this kind of nonsense, right?
If you've been browsing around trading content online long enough, chances are you've come across today's guest. Unapologetically bearish, brutally honest, and razor sharp when it comes to reading the tape. Meet Anand Sangvi, or better known as Sang Lucci in the trading community and on social media. Sang Lucci is an options trader who has over 20 years of experience in the market. He's known for trading size, for trading options, especially those ultra-risky 0 DTE contracts, and for never sugarcoating the truth about this game we call trading. Years ago, I asked him an important question during the Traders for a Cause conference in Las Vegas, and he did not disappoint with his answer. Do you think trading is gambling?
Absolutely, 100%. That's exactly what it is.
Okay. I like how honest you are about this.
Absolutely.
That's how you know that Sang Lucci will serve you the cold, hard truth that you need to hear as a trader today. I mean, this guy literally eats 0 DTE options premiums for breakfast. But what makes Sang Lucci really interesting isn't just his trading, it's his story. From starting out from old-school prop firms to developing an edge in options to battling the emotional roller coaster that comes with trading for a living. In today's conversation with Sang Lucci, you're going to learn how he adapted his bearish approach in today's market, what trading 0 DTE options really takes, and the associated upside and downside that comes with this ultra-risky trading style. How tape reading and reading the level 2 actually works, and when it's time to swing for the fences. The dark side of trading, the loneliness, the struggles, and how deals with it all. And finally, his raw advice for new traders chasing consistency in this brutal industry. I'm genuinely excited for this one. We've had some really deep conversations both on and off the camera, and I think a lot of traders, especially the ones who are quietly struggling, they're going to feel really seen in this episode. So make sure to hit the like button and let's get into it. Here's our conversation today with Sang Lucci. Sang Lucci. So most people know you as almost like a perma bear.
Yeah.
Over the last 20 years of trading.
Oof.
Yeah. How are you adapting this year, or what's your shift or strategies been like?
It took me a while. I'm still learning how to shift to a more bullish, it's about belief. Do you believe in these things that we're buying? Right? Do you believe in the future of these things that we're buying? So I'll give you an example, right? Even when podcasts came out, I thought it was a fad. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or even when, TikToks or Instagrams and all this kind of stuff come out. I'm always thinking it's a fad, and at some point it's going to end, and that's it. It's a wrap, right? So that's kind of like how my mentality has always worked. So you put crypto in that same batch. You put half of these companies that we're trading in the markets. You put them all in the same mix. And to me, in my head, somewhere, because I'm such a contrarian, I think they're all going to zero. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of how I always looked at the markets. You want to know why? I started trading in a prop firm, a real prop firm, not like today's funded sim.
Oh, we need to talk about that
firms.
later too.
Hey traders, how would you like for a chance to compete for over $40,000 in cash prizes, all without risking $1 of your own money? Don't worry, this isn't one of those prop firm funding challenges. This is Canada's leading ETF trading contest. The Beta Pro Biggest Winner Simulated Trading Competition is back, and this year, the prizes are bigger than ever. I competed last year and back at it again this year. There's over $40,000 to be won, and it's absolutely free to enter. You just have to be a Canadian resident. Whether you take home the top prize of $20,000, one of the $10,000 or $5,000 runner-up prizes, or any of the weekly $1,000 draws, there's so many chances to win. The Biggest Winner is run by Beta Pro by Global X, one of the major ETF providers in Canada, and the simulated trading platform is powered by Webull. If you're a trader and a resident of Canada, don't miss out on this opportunity because you can literally sign up for free to compete. Quick tip, remember to turn off your VPN when you register. For new traders, this is a perfect opportunity to gain live trading experience with zero risk to your own capital. Every contestant will receive $100,000 in fantasy funds to trade over 1,000 different Canadian ETFs, including Beta Pro's leverage ETFs, S&P 500 index ETFs, and even crypto ETFs. The contest will run for 6 weeks, so you can compete with your day trading or swing trading strategies. All the contest rules are on the website, linked down below. Don't miss out. You can sign up for free with the link down below for a chance to win. Plus, compete against me. Now back to the video.
I started trading in a prop firm, a real prop firm, not like today's funded sim.
Oh, we need to
prop
talk about that
firms.
later too.
I started in a real prop firm where you put down cash, they give you technology. There was an advantage that they had too. So it wasn't equal. Like retail traders weren't equal with institutions, market makers. We didn't all have the same tools. There was like an access, there was like a gatekeeper, you know, to that access. And you had to pay for that access. So at these prop firms, they were 95% short. Because there was a thing called the uptick rule. And the uptick rule made it so that you couldn't short on the bid. Right now, if you wanted to short a stock, you smoke a bid out and you short the stock, right? So you borrow it, your broker immediately gives you the shares to short, and boom, you shoot, you sell on the bid, everything happens automatically. Before, you had to sit on the offer. You had to sit one tick up on the offer. So if, a stock is trading $50, you had to be short at $50.01. And you couldn't get short until somebody bought you out.
I see.
So you couldn't
it's always SSR.
Exactly.
Because we only have that now when a stock is, down 10% on the day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I see.
So, now there was a way to bypass that rule if you had the product, if you had the tool.
Oh, that was your edge.
So now imagine only certain firms having this particular edge in these low float, like small cap type names where there wasn't that much liquidity and somebody wanted to get short, let's say 20,000 shares or 30,000 shares. They had to sit on the offer. So we saw them. We could filter for that. And we saw them sitting on the offer. And every time we ticked it down because we could bypass the uptick rule, the short stepped down. It was coded to move down to the tick.
Okay.
So we could basically beat a stock down for 50 cents or $1, and then we would all cover into the short, right?
Oh.
So think about a whole firm that has
That sounds
now,
way too easy.
Okay, here's where it gets hard.
Okay.
So think about a whole firm or several firms. We're all in the same short together.
Okay.
And we now, as a firm, we have 60,000 shares short. But the short only has 30,000 to cover into. So all of us can't cover into that short. There's not enough liquidity. So now if one person at the office or in the crew starts to cover, he's like the scapegoat. You know what I mean? Everybody hates him because he's the one that started the
covering.
The covering. And now the whole short disappears. The stock explodes. Now everybody in the office is screwed.
Oh,
so
okay.
now what do you need? You need dark pools. You need dark pools to get out of your liquidity, right? So you need to be able to ping out on a dark pool and say, hey, you know, there's not enough liquidity here. Can you give me something to get out on?
Okay.
And they'll be able to ping, you know, there's some dark pools.
So there were ways around it. Okay.
There were ways. But that was the whole strategy. That was where, for years, that was the prop firm strategy.
That's why you started out so bearish.
Right, that everybody made money off of. And that was through the tech, but that was through the first tech boom, when the internet was first announced, and people like Mark Cuban were making billions of dollars on a broadcasting online, site that didn't really go anywhere.
Right.
And valuations just went through the roof. It's kind of what we're seeing with AI right now.
I see.
And again, do you believe? Like, where do you believe this AI can go? And do you believe in the valuations that we have on these stocks? I'm looking at these valuations like, come on.
So you're not a non-believer in a lot of these things, like Bitcoin, AI.
I'm a non-believer.
I mean,
now
that's okay.
I'm like trying to get to that place, and obviously it's been difficult because you're kind of rewiring your whole brain to now believe in these things.
That's interesting because I always thought as short-term traders, like whether you're day trading or swing trading for a couple of days, like I thought most traders don't really care what they're trading as long as there's momentum.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's about themes. So if you're in a theme like we are right now with AI stocks, and you're just, you're looking for a short, but the trend is clearly higher, you're going to be looking for that short for weeks or for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks. And then what's going to happen every single time you shoot short, you're going to collect losses until hopefully you're still alive to get the short when it comes. And that's a tough life, man.
That is.
It's a tough life for bears. It's a tough life. Right now, most bears they're hibernating. They've been hibernating and they haven't had any food for a long time.
Oh.
Unless they start trading some of the small cap stuff or maybe some of the meme coins that are coming out with the crypto stuff that always has the pump and dumps and things like that. You can still find stuff to short, but it's a tough life.
Yeah, because I understand you don't really touch small caps much.
Yeah,
right? Your bread and butter is
by the way,
there.
I started to this year. I've started to trade a ton of small caps.
Oh wow, that's new.
So at the office that I have in Puerto Rico, there's a bunch of traders down there. Half of them are all small caps. And, they're screaming out names. And these names are pump and dump names where I can locate 10,000 shares or 20,000 shares and short something for a point. And I'm like, okay, at least let me scratch my...
You're getting that bearish itch.
At least let me scratch a little bit of an itch while I'm waiting for this market to crash, which ain't going to happen anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you haven't been able, I guess you don't really trade long.
I do. Trust me. I do.
You do? Okay.
I do. So, it's just my personality and my, trading is all about how you look at the markets, your personality and all this kind of stuff. So it all has something to do with it. So I've been trading long, but I'm very quick to take it off because I don't think it can keep going.
I see.
I see. For example, I don't know if you remember the when the Israel-Iran conflict kind of started to pop around. The market was maybe we were at 600 on SPY, and I'm looking at this tape and I'm like, there's nobody selling anything. We have this conflict that everybody's talking about World War III, and nobody's selling anything.
There's not much panic.
No, there's no panic anywhere. So I'm sitting there looking at this. Is like once everybody figures out this is nothing, we're going to the moon here. We're going to all-time highs. Yeah. So I made that bet, but I took it off in 2 days. And we went, we went 20 more points on SPY. We went, 50 more points on the Qs and all this kind of stuff. So, I made money, but man,
At least you didn't go short, I guess.
I left exactly. And I left a lot on the table, but so I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But again, I'm always waiting for the short. That's where you'll see my energy come out, and that's where you see it all come out, the excitement come out and everything. I just love it. I don't know.
So how would you describe your trading nowadays specifically? You traded some small caps, obviously equity.
Yep.
But how do you trade these larger cap stocks?
Yeah, I sell a lot of premium.
Okay.
So I'm an options guy. I'm always looking at the options market for information. I'm always looking at, there's a lot of sophisticated options tools now that are coming out because everybody is trading futures and 0DTE, SPX and Q options. That's where all the volume is going. And especially there's a whole new crew of Robinhood traders who trade futures and 0DTEs all day. And all of that volume is causing a lot of market makers and institutions to now look at this for edge and for advantage here. Because how can you screw all these retail traders out of their money? And the possibility to do it is every day now. So some of these 0DTE options, they trade similar to small caps. The charts look like small caps. So you'll see a $0 option go to $12 and then back to zero by the end of the day. And there's billions of dollars in these options. That's what you'll see on a daily basis. We've never seen that ever. This product is a new product, and that's where all the volume is going. So now, like the futures market and all this kind of stuff is really kind of moving the whole space here. And that's what I believe. And then all the tools that come out for options, that's what I'm using right now. So I sell a lot of premium, and I'm trading tons of 0DTEs all day.
0DTEs, those are, that stands for 0 day till expiry.
0 day till expiration. Okay. So the genesis of all this, you got to think about it like this. Previously, before 2021, we never had weekly options. So these were options that expired the same week. Okay. So we only had monthly options. And these were options that expired the third Friday of every month. That's how it's been for decades. And then all of a sudden, the CME started to test these new products. Of course, they're just trying to make money, more fees. Of course, yeah. And they're trying to create the new product, right?
Yeah.
So they came up with these weekly options, which basically opened up, 4 weeks in advance, but now they would expire every Friday. And then they started to realize, oh shit, people are trading these things.
Okay.
And then they started to realize people were using them for hedging. People were using them for a lot of different stuff. And then retail obviously was using them because the movement, the volatility was there.
Yeah.
So then they were like, all right, let's try 0 days. Let's try today. Actually, they went to Wednesdays. They started doing like Wednesdays. So
Fridays.
Yeah, they started doing like Wednesday, Fridays, and Monday. And then the volume just kept going. It kept going. It kept going. Now they're doing 0. And it's wild how much money and how much, volume is traded every single day in these products. It is ridiculous. So now you see tons of algo programs. You see tons of institutions in there every single day hedging. It is the most valuable hedging instrument. And then at the same time, it is the most degenerate retail trading instrument. So when you have those two things together, exploding. It is just exploding.
I know a lot of people who scalp those 0DTEs.
Yep.
Is that general? I tried it a couple of times before. Not proud about it because I was like, oh, this is fun. Like it can move so fast. But like how do you do it is there a proper way to trade those 0DTEs?
Yeah.
Or you just scalp?
Yeah. You need to realize trading futures. Have you tried to trade futures?
No, I have not.
Okay, so like trading futures it's like trading water. Like it's so easy to get in and out. It's so much more easy to get in and out than equity positions or options positions.
Okay.
So you're very prone to overtrading. Everybody overtrades. And then with the leverage that they give you, you'll blow an account out in a day. Literally, you blow an account out in a day, and people are doing this every single day because now with the funded simulations, that's what's happening every single day. So that's kind of the vibe. And there's a way to trade it, and you need to trade it using some of the analysis on the option side, which is kind of counterintuitive because you come in trading futures, But now you need information on the option side to push your decision making on the future side.
Okay.
Because if you know where the institutions are positioned on the options from a zero DTE perspective, usually we just trade in a range. You've seen that SPY just sits there in a range every day.
Yeah.
And then maybe 1 out of 10, we actually have like a move. Most of the days we're just doing nothing.
Just like slow.
We're just ping-ponging back and forth between a range. So you need to understand those ranges, and you need to understand why there's a lot of movement at the extremes of those ranges.
Okay.
So if you can just stay patient, shoot 2 or 3 scalps in a day, you can build an account pretty freaking quickly. Pretty quickly. Now, if you have a larger account and you can sell premium, that's where the game is.
I see.
That's where the
you're
game
writing
is.
it.
You're writing it. So you're basically the casino, and you're selling the opportunity for somebody else
To the Robin Hooders.
Exactly. And oftentimes, because of algos, and because of how they're designed, and because there's so much retail volume out there, the institutions have gotten so good that they know obviously where all this retail positioning is, and they can run programs in either direction, and they can move a zero DTE option from $1 to $4, and all retail will be like, holy shit, we got to get the hell out of this thing. We're getting screwed here. And they'll bring it back to zero, and they'll bring them back to zero. So all these fluctuations just happen very quickly within fractions of seconds. It blows people out, and then they go back to zero.
So how come? So where do you stand positioning in these? Like, how come you don't get screwed?
Well, you got to know where to look. You have to know where to look, and you have to stay patient until you see these volatility spikes, right? Because that's where you want to sell the premium. So if a dollar option at an extreme end of a range goes to $5, but it never actually breaks the range. Remember, options are about perception. So if it looks like we're about to break out, the premium will spike higher.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, oh my God, it's going higher. And then all of a sudden, boom, no, it doesn't. It's almost like these fake breakouts and fake breakdowns
in the small caps
at these big levels.
Yeah.
So they use the same kind of behavioral, thing. They juice that perception. Now the perception goes to $5. Meanwhile, the thing hasn't gone anywhere, and then it goes right back down to zero.
That's where you short at $5.
That's where you short it. But sometimes it could go to $12. It could go to $13.
Oh shoot!
It could go to $14, just like a small cap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's wild how similar the comparisons are. But again, as long as you kind of have these options analytics where you can see things like gamma, or you can see things like, positioning from the institutional side, you can kind of get an idea of where they're going to push these things and how extreme they're going to go. And that's where the game is. That's where the money is, though.
Oh.
It's once you push that perception from retail and everybody's running for one side, and then it doesn't happen and everybody gets blown out.
I see.
So you got to wait. You got to wait for those moments.
So you have to be very. So would you say like you don't place that many trades a day? You're just sitting there.
I'm just sitting
observing the option
sitting there,
chain.
just waiting.
Okay.
And then there's just these moments where you just get explosive zero DTE moves, and that's where you want to come in and play. The rest of the time I'll just sell if we're not doing anything, I'll just sell premium super far out of the money, and I'll just collect pennies.
Oh, collect the income, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So you can do that on a larger account. Let's say you have $1 million account. You can make, 10 grand, 20 grand every single day just writing premium.
I see.
And it's pretty solid.
Oh, it's good that you sort of have like the faster plays and the slower plays.
You have to be
for you on your board.
Yeah. That too. And you can't get comfortable when you're writing either. Because at any moment, especially in this campaign, in this environment that we're in, sorry, not campaign, but this political environment, Trump could say anything about a tariff. He could say anything about about Elon Musk. All of a sudden now they're fighting with each other.
That's
some nonsense comes out and boom, market's up or down 40 handles. And you're sitting there selling premium on the wrong side of the trade. And you sold a dollar option that is now $5, and you're down a lot of money. So you still need hedging strategies. You still need to be able to understand how to move, and you still need to be able to move. A lot of traders, they just get stuck, that deer in the headlights kind of mentality. They just look at something that's going against them like that, and they can't stick and move. They can't adjust. They can't morph the position, and you got to be ready to do those things. So that comes with experience. And shoot, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, man. So I got enough of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you always been day trading? It seems like you transition more to like swing trading with a lot of the positions.
You got to remember, Shay, I do it all. You know what I mean? So I have my swing trading accounts and I have my day trading accounts. I have my writing accounts. I got crypto accounts.
you literally trade everything.
And then for the small caps, you need several brokers because you got to get the locates.
Yeah, the locates.
From
important.
Several different brokers, so I got it all. And then the kids at the office, they keep me busy, man. They're coming up with new strategies all the time. So I'm always aware of like what people are doing, and then I'm always watching. I'm always looking, and then, if something, I can apply my experience to a lot of things, and it makes perfect sense to me. So, the wisdom counts.
Yeah.
Even though I feel old, my wisdom counts.
The wisdom and the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It counts.
It counts. Okay.
It counts.
That's good to know. 20 years of trading.
Yeah, man.
Would you say it's easier or harder now to become profitable as a trader for those who are kind of like learning and struggling in their year 1 and year 2 compared to 20 years ago?
I think it's easier.
I
think it's easier. I would say it's easier. And I'm only saying this because the access to information, the access to people who are doing it, and the access to these people who are successful, I think it's just much more prevalent. You know what I mean? So because people who are able to do it, it gives you the confidence that you can do it until eventually you get over that hurdle. And I think it's easier. I'd like to believe it's easier. And man, you go on Instagram and TikTok every day, everybody's making money.
Oh,
so,
you
know what I mean?
Especially on Twitter or X.
Everybody's making money. So apparently everybody's making money. So I don't even know if we can even have this conversation, right? Because if you go on Instagram or social media any day, everybody's making money and nobody's,
Nobody's losing money.
Nobody's losing money. So what the hell is it? You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember back in the day, I was trying to get people to post losses. So all I would do is post my losses. I never posted gains any. I just posted a year's worth of loss. Every day that I had a loss, boom, I'd post it. Just to inspire people to post freaking losses. Yeah. And it still didn't work. Nobody posts losses. Nobody posts losses. You know what I mean? And I understand it, right? You go on social media, it's the best pieces of a person's life.
It's a highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel. I understand.
Yeah.
But damn, man, show me, I want to know. Maybe that's why I'm such a contrarian, because I sit there and I look at this stuff and I'm like, bro, that's not your life.
Maybe that's...
You know what I mean? Like, I just saw you the other day. You were miserable, sad, and all this kind of stuff. But you just posted that, that life is good and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, when are you gonna say something that is real?
I think it's hard to do that. But I get it. If you want to post like the highlights, you should also post the lowlights as well.
You should. Yeah. But why? Why, right? I mean, if the idea is to push this more positive, the aspect, and that's all we want to talk about, should we? Do we even care? Does anybody even care?
I think having losses is overall positive.
Yeah.
Like understanding people do lose is positive for a trader.
Exactly.
In general.
Right.
I remember you used to post your like monthly recaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those. Because I would be like, how does this guy live? 1 month you're up six figures.
Yeah.
Next month you're down 6 figures. I'm just like, this guy is, I don't know if I can live his life. It was inspiring, but at the same time, I was just like, I wonder how his mental health is doing.
Yo, it's like I've always been that guy. You know what I mean? I've always been that guy. I've always had super volatile, because I'm always going for it. You know what I mean?
Always?
I'm always going for it. I'm always going for it. And then, to see some of our best traders now in the community that are on Kinfo and all that, to see some of these kids doing what they're doing, they go for it.
Yeah.
They go for it. You know, they go for it to the point where if that shit doesn't work, they're gone. They're gone, but they always have another life. It's like they got 9 lives out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whatever I was doing, these kids are doing it times 10. Times 10. So some of the best traders that we have out there, it's inspiring. It is inspiring what some of these kids are able to do and how much confidence they have in a setup or, you know, in whatever that they're going for. So I'm still going for it. I'm still going for it.
Yeah, you cannot let the young kids.
I still enjoy it. I still enjoy putting on the size and finding something that, you know, and I have a couple setups where I really go for it. So if they show up, I don't ask questions.
Okay, let's talk about those setups.
I go for it, sure.
What do you have to see? Because I know tape reading is like a big part of what you do.
Absolutely.
What do you have to see in the tape or whatever instruments you're playing to make you go, okay, maybe not all in, but like you go for it. Like you said, put on size, you put on the risk that you allowed for yourself.
So my setup, my biggest setup always is the same thing, and it has been the same thing for decades now since I started, which means it's something bigger than just technical analysis and all this kind of nonsense, right? It alludes to the fact that somebody somewhere is in control of the narrative and knows the news here before it comes out and understands how to move markets and understands how to move perception. I have no idea how these people do it. But if I've been working this same setup for 2 decades, it's got to say something, right? So this is what it is. It's where positioning is always at an extreme. So let's take it in the context of today.
Okay.
Today, after the conflict with Iran and Israel, we're now at all-time highs. Yeah. We've now gone way through all-time highs. Every asset class that you want to talk about is at all-time highs, including gold, including, you know, Bitcoin, all this kind of stuff. Every single asset class is at all-time highs. Now, every single day that you try to look for, every single day they trap shorts. They trap shorts every single day. They try to create the perception that, hey, there's a sell-off coming or there's some news on tariffs or something like that. They create these vacuums. Trap more shorts, keep going, keep going. Trap more shorts, keep going. Until eventually, the sentiment becomes so incredibly extreme to one side, right? And they are able to catch everybody on that side of the trade. And it's so palpable that everybody's convinced that that's it. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Now, it always happens in conjunction of some news somewhere. At some point, some news is going to be dropped or some, statement is going to be dropped, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled. And that's when everybody is at their most vulnerable point where they have to sell and everybody just starts booking profits. That's going to happen soon. It's probably going to happen this month or next month.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Right? And then we're going to have a 100-handle pullback in the market, right? Because these are healthy. They need to happen. Mm-hmm. But they can't just allow anybody to walk into these trades. So they got to pile everybody on the wrong side of the trade until everybody is long. And then once they pull the rug out, everybody's positioned on the wrong side of the trade and the tape becomes one-sided. So now everybody's selling. Everybody's on the bid and everybody's selling. That's the day that I'm waiting for.
Okay.
And now prior to that day, obviously if you can anticipate the news, which you can't, right? Which you can't. Once that happens, that's the day that I pull the trigger. Now, the problem is that they make it look like every day this is going to happen.
They start like with a gap down.
They make it look like every day this is going to happen. So the problem is that most folks, you rack up losses until finally you hit that point, where either you can't go, you're frustrated, or whatever the case is. Everything is about energy. This is all human behavior. This is not a setup based on markets or whatever. This is pure human behavior. That's it. And somebody knows how to control it. Somebody knows how to look at it. I can't explain why. I can't explain how. But it happens every time. Same thing happened with the Iran-Israel conflict. You could just tell. Nobody was selling anything. And you could just tell. There was a bid under everything. There was somebody just chewing up all the stock every time news came out about escalation in the war. And, we're going to World War III and all this kind of stuff. Somebody was just sitting on the bid the whole time. And then boom, they announced the ceasefire. We gapped up, and then we never looked back. We never looked back. And that guy, that guy who was sitting on the bid the whole time, we're talking about $100 million. We're talking about billion-dollar trades here that are happening, every once in a while here in the market. So I'm waiting for those spots.
Okay.
And then once I find that spot, that's it. Short everything, or take that side and go full on. So that's what I'm waiting for. So it's always the combination of extreme perception, and then some catalyst, some news catalyst that sets it all off that nobody is ready for. That's what it is.
So then, to do what you are waiting for, you are, I guess, I'm assuming you're kind of watching a tape.
Yes.
Level 2.
Yes.
Every day.
Every day. I'm sitting there just kind of watching. Okay, when's it showing up? What's going on? So every single day so far, because I've been waiting for this trade to come out, we're still going higher. We still go higher every day, even though a majority of the stocks are just exhausted. Most stocks are exhausted right now. We can't go higher on a lot of different names. Earnings season has hit.
Yeah.
I think Tesla today reported a negative move. IBM down. They sold Netflix. So there's little pockets where it's starting to tell you, hey, we need to calm the fuck down here. This is getting a little out of pocket, but they'll never let you. They're not going to let you just have it, right? And they got to get people positioned on the wrong side of the trade at that high, extreme perception.
They know there's people like you waiting for the short trade.
Of course.
That's why they want to suck you in.
Of course. They want to make
you a little bit.
Of course, And while retail is sitting there with their stocks and they're yelling to high heaven, oh my God, we're making all this money. We're never going to sell. We're never going to sell.
We're going to get rich.
We're going to get rich. All we got to do is buy some more of this coin, that coin, whatever coin, and everything's going to be good. Until eventually, it ain't. It ain't. And I wait for those moments, either on the bull side or the bear side.
So that also means you are kind of watching and listening to the news.
Of course.
Every day.
Of course. And I'm more so watching how it affects the tape.
Yeah.
I'm more so watching how it affects everything. For example, when we crashed, when Trump started announcing those tariffs.
Oh, yeah.
You remember every single day
February,
we were
March,
down 100 handles, 200 handles. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, this guy's talking about 30% tariffs on whatever country, whereas in that previous environment, we'd be down 100 handles overnight. Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares now about tariffs. So the narrative is always very important, and the reaction to that narrative, because that's what controls and moves the perception. Literally a year ago, not even a year ago, 3-4 months ago, somebody said tariff, market's down in 2 seconds. Now somebody says tariff, nobody gives a shit. Right?
Yeah.
So it's all pure perception. Half of this stuff doesn't mean anything. It's just the reaction. Who's in control of all this stuff? Because somebody is. And then how are they pushing the narrative? So right now, nobody cares about it until somebody does. Or maybe there's a piece of news that we haven't factored in yet. Or there's a change in sentiment or a change in narrative. And that's that moment, That's that moment where I'll go. Because you just know everybody's on the wrong side of this, and now you have no choice but to get out.
Oh, this is interesting.
That's where I go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting for those days too.
All right, I'll let you know.
But if it keeps going up, I'm gonna ride on the way up.
Yeah,
too.
and the beautiful thing is you can be late to this trade and still make double your money. I can still double my money and be late to this trade. Why? Because it's a complete shift in narrative. It's a complete change in perception.
Yeah.
So and they have to flush everybody out of the current perception. So, you have time. You have time. Problem is you've been trained to have that idea not work for so long. For example, every single day you're wrong on it.
Okay.
So you're so quick to get out of it when it's working. But meanwhile, there's days left of it. So that's where I need to work on. So for example, that long off that Iran-Israel conflict, I only held it for a day.
Yeah.
And I doubled my money, almost tripled my money. If I held it for 3 more days, it was a 10x. It was a 10x.
Wow.
Why? Because perception shifted and everybody has to get on the same page. And that creates one-sided tape. And when you have one-sided tape, it just goes and goes and goes. Because everybody's already on the wrong side of the trade.
I know tape reading is difficult to describe.
Yeah.
But if you could try your best, how would you describe to our viewers watching this? Like they just heard you talk about the strategy you've been trading for the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
What are you looking at specifically on the tape?
I'll give you the. Literally, I learned this from the prop firm days.
Okay.
From the old school traders in Chicago, New York. These were the guys that had been making money for God knows how long. And basically, it's very simple. It's applying supply and demand to to the transactions you're looking at, and you're looking at the reaction of those transactions on your level 2. Okay? So for example, let's say all of a sudden, everybody's starting to sweep the offer and everybody's starting to hit the offer, right? And nobody's waiting for their bids to get filled. Everybody's just going market and everybody's just taking offers. At some point, your bids have to step up, right? And then if that continues and people are still hitting the offer, your bids have to continue stepping up. So it's kind of like a demand here, in the current moment is higher. That's why nobody wants to wait to get their bids filled. And they're just buying the offer or they're just going market. And that's what pushes stocks higher, right? Okay. Or if you have a giant offer, let's say for 100,000 shares that's sitting on an offer and somebody buys it and somebody puts a bid up there for another 100,000 shares. This guy's looking for more stock and now everybody's going to start buying in front of him. Right? So now like I'll put a 10,000 offer, I'll put a 10,000 bid in front of him. So now this guy can't get filled for his 100,000 shares because I'm ahead of him for 10,000. So he's like, oh, screw this guy. I see him with his 10,000 shares. I'm going to move my 100,000 shares up. Right? And then it just becomes a perception. It's perception. Everything is, tape is perception, pure perception.
But how do you know that's real?
People talk about that all the time. You know it's real if it sits there on the book and you see the transactions cover that 100,000. But
what I mean? If it goes through, right?
If it goes through, but you'll see the transactions. You know what I mean? So people are so worried about what's real on the tape. Look at the damn thing. Most people just don't look at it. Most people don't look at it and read the transactions too. Sure, if somebody puts 100,000 shares up and takes it off, that's not real. However, oftentimes there's a reason why they do that. Sometimes they just flash the order out. Now everybody's looking at it like, oh shit, I got a buyer back here. I'm going to start buying. And they do this to create a reaction. So there's a game. There's tape in everything. And it's not surprising why Bookmap became so freaking popular because it was just a visualization of where the volume sits on your level 2.
Yeah.
But in reality, we're just talking about circles here that show volume here.
It's kind of...
You know what I mean? But 90,000 freaking users use this damn thing.
Yeah.
Why? Because nobody wants to read this actual tape. But if you look at it and you spend time like actually sitting there looking at it for an hour, 2 hours... I'll beat any program. I will beat any automation, any algo on that one particular stock. I can't read tape on 100 names. Obviously, an algo can beat me reading a tape on 100 names.
Yeah.
But you put me up against an algo reading one name, guarantee I will beat that. I will beat that algo. Oh. Because again, it's human beings.
Yeah.
It's how we respond to what's happening on the tape. Large buyers, large sellers, market orders. There's all kinds of different cool tools that you can use to hide your size on the tape. Iceberg orders, they call them, or they call them. Basically, you can show that you only want 100 shares, but you really have 100,000 shares back there. But you only want to show the market that you have 100 shares. So you can play games. There's dark pools. There's dark pools. There's tons of games that you can play that can hide your true intention. Because why would you want to hide your true intention? Look at any small cap stock that has barely any liquidity. If you want to get 100,000 shares off in these stocks, you can't just put it in the market like that. You have to play games. You have to buy 10,000 or buy 100 shares every 5 minutes or do all kinds of things. So people don't understand that's how these things exist. There's millions of dollars invested in creating algo execution programs that do just this. Because nobody wants to affect the price of the stock if they want to buy and sell 2 million shares or 3 million shares. We're just trying to find whales here. People are doing it now in crypto all day.
That's what I was going to say.
Because crypto is a free market. You can get the data all day. You can just download all this data. It's already it's free. You don't have to pay for it. In stocks and equities and options, you have to pay for historical data. You have to pay for real-time data. You have to pay to store it. You can't analyze it like anybody else, like crypto can. You can't do any of that. So it's harder to find it in the equities market versus crypto. And that's all crypto is doing. Oh my God, somebody, some big whale just moved out of X, Y, and Z position, or they just dumped their ether, or they just went in and bought X, Y, and Z, and then all of a sudden the whole market floods in on that particular move. It's the same. It's the same we're talking about. But people are scared of it still because they don't want to. They don't want to read this stuff. They don't want to. In my opinion.
So you read the tape, level 2, time and sales.
Yeah.
Do you don't use any you don't do any technical analysis, charting?
I think these days you have to do some of it because again,
so you do use it.
I do, but I also always understand that at some point it's not gonna matter. When that big perception change happens, all your technicals go to none of it works. And that's the point. That's the point, because it's been working for 9 days out of 10, and that 10th day comes around, and none of your levels work, and none of your.
You're talking about like when everything tanks, none of your whatever support levels gonna work.
Exactly. At some point, it doesn't work anymore because it's designed to just work in these ranges where there's big inflection points and there's big volume and all this kind of stuff. And generally speaking, it works. You can create consistent strategies off of it all day. But at some point,
at one day
or 2 days or whatever, it ain't going to work. And those days, that's where the real money is made.
I see.
Because you're waiting on your shit to work. It ain't working. And you're going to keep dumping money back into this.
Yeah.
And it's going elsewhere. It ain't. It's going out of your pocket into somebody else's pocket.
Okay. And you also, I guess, what's your stance on indicators? Do you use them or no?
I use now options indicator. I use now options, again, gamma levels. These are where market makers are positioned. These are where remember, they're the ones that are selling these options to us.
Yes.
And if they're caught on the wrong side of something and they need to hedge, they create big moves in the market because they know they're screwed. And they just need to position themselves around so they can stay delta neutral, but they can't do it unless they move the markets to be able to do it. So if I can tell where a market maker is screwed, I can make a lot of money. And if I can tell where a market maker wants to keep us range bound or whatever, I can make a good amount of money. So I look at a lot of options indicators. Those work because it's a structural thing. It creates the behavior in the market. It's not something that is produced as a kind of like a delayed indicator, so to speak. That's just kind of reading what's going on, like a VWAP and all these other things that people use. These things work up to a certain point.
Yes.
And then at some point, they stop working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about options.
Yeah.
So what's an options indicator? Like what you just said, the Greeks?
Yeah, well, it's not really the Greeks. Again, like I'm saying, dealer positioning and market maker positioning. These are the indicators. And I built the whole suite of products to just look at this.
I see.
So this is what these are the indicators that we use in our world, and it helps us trade zero DTEs. It helps us know when to sell them. It helps us know when to buy them. It helps us know when these volatility spikes are probably going to calm down. These are the levels that we use, and they're so helpful to futures traders, to options traders. To people who trade large caps.
Yeah. Do you think newer traders should start with just underlying stock, or they should start with options?
I think they should start with underlying stocks 100%, because if options is you have to layer on an added level of complexity to something that is already there, right? Because options are a derivative of the
underlying,
equities, you know what I mean? So you have to understand if we're talking about understanding the markets, you got to understand what the fuck you're trading for.
Yes.
You
got to have that belief.
Exactly. I mean, you want to hop into an option that you don't even understand.
Yeah.
You don't even know what the underlying is that you're trading. Like, come on here.
Okay.
So you have to start with the equity first.
And zero DTEs?
And the zero DTEs you'll get to once you start to understand them.
Okay.
You know, obviously people look at 0DTEs as a way to just print money and to just, 2x and 3x your account every single day. It doesn't work like that,
Oh, it doesn't?
I mean, my bad. On social media, it works like that. On social media, it works like that. There's some badass SPX 0DTE traders, by the way, on Twitter. Some really good ones. They'll put up numbers and you'll be like, holy shit. And they'll take, you know what they'll do? They'll take lotto tickets on those same volatility spikes that I'm talking about, and they'll just take lotto tickets all day. So let's say you have a $100,000 account.
Okay.
And you just want to, you're just going to shoot lotto tickets because you know, at certain places, these institutions are going to push the extremes of these ranges and get these 0DTEs to do those vol spikes. So you'll take a lotto ticket at $1 option, and you'll know it could either go to 0 or you're making 5x on it. Right. So you put $1,000, $2,000 on each one of these things, and you'll hit both sides. You'll literally hit both sides. You just got to be patient, know when to shoot, and that's it. That's it.
I guess a lot of it's also about the risk reward.
Of course.
Like it goes to 0 or it goes 5x.
It goes to 0 or it goes to 5x, or sometimes it goes to 10x, and there's ways, I know guys that build whole strategies off this.
They call them, lottos or like YOLO calls.
YOLO calls, lotto tickets, everybody,
Oh my God.
I mean, shoot, you go to Wall Street Bets now, they're pumping other names now. They're always pumping something, they're always pumping something. So you'll see those big trades getting posted up in there in Wall Street Bets all day. Wild.
Have you ever placed a trade and before you place the trade, you're like, YOLO?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But those are moments where I'm frustrated. Those are moments where I'm frustrated. Sometimes you hit those moments where you're trading and you're just so frustrated and exhausted. You're just taking trades just to take them. And then you're just like, yeah,
wait, that's not good.
Of course it's not good.
Yeah.
But these happen. These things happen,
Do you remember, maybe, was it 2 or 3 years ago, I traded for a cause. I interviewed you for like a short, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I asked you a question. I was like, in your opinion, do you remember?
Yeah, you asked me if trading was gambling.
Yeah, do you think trading is gambling?
Absolutely.
Still, the answer is still the same?
100%.
But doesn't gambling mean like you're always, what's the official word for it? Relies on like chance and like fixed odds.
Okay.
So you don't think you have higher odds in trading, like in the certain strategies you're trading? Like you think the chance or the probability is always fixed?
Well, here's what I think. I think in this day of social media, you have to create these narratives that make everybody feel good about what they're doing, right?
Sure.
So you tell somebody that they're not gambling, and because they're stock trading and there's a higher probability.
Okay.
Right? It makes them feel good. It makes them feel like, hey, I'm doing something that's a step above gambling and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, the emotions are absolutely the same. The same.
Okay, true. That
the
is true.
same, if not worse, right?
Okay.
And then if you look at the idea of gambling and you look at the idea of a casino, you go into the casino and there's like 6 different games, 7 different games, right? You got craps, you got blackjack, you got all this stuff. And then you got baccarat. All of them have different odds, right? All of them have worse odds. Some of them have better odds.
Yeah.
Some of them you can actually game or beat the house. If you look at baccarat, those are the ones that have the best odds, right? It's almost a 50-50, right? Casino still shares a little bit of edge.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about here? We're talking about lines of we're talking about these fine lines that because of the way that we are and because of where we are as human beings, we want to sugarcoat all this stuff to make ourselves feel better. Meanwhile, it's a game of probabilities. We don't know. The second I put on a trade, I have no idea what could happen. The only thing is am I accepting the risk to reward? I'm going to make this bet, and if it hits, I'm going to make X, Y, and Z. If it doesn't, I'm going to lose X, Y, and Z, right? Now, as a result, emotions pop out, strategies pop out, calculations come about. All this stuff comes about, and trading is the same damn thing. So to me, we like to sugarcoat shit. We like to make things seem better than they are. Right. And sure, do we have better odds? I think I have better odds.
Okay.
I think I have an edge. I think I have a little bit of a house edge. But guess what? My mentality sometimes, it decreases that edge back in favor of the house.
Right.
Because I'm just at a weak or vulnerable moment. And then what? That's not gambling? Now we're going to say that's not gambling? You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
It's like it's the perception of the word now for us. And you could bring that to so many different words that we use. You say one word in this day and age to any human being, they'll take that word in a completely different context and they'll get mad, upset, this, that, or whatever. That's the world that we live in today.
I just think, I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I feel like gambling, it's like no one is that lucky enough to have gambled and still be here after 20 years. Oof. That's like, that's where I'm like, I don't know if it's 100% gambling.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some aspects of gambling, but how do you do this for 20 years?
Sure.
If it's 100% gambling.
Go to Vegas, Shay. Go to Macau. You've been to Macau. There's some gamblers who have been doing this for decades and they're still alive and they're making a lot of money. They're making a lot of money. There's poker players who make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Blackjack players who make a ton of money. And everybody knows them. They have their own communities. And it's a game that over time you can beat. You can beat. And there's people who do this for a career.
With enough experience, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah, fair point.
Are there more traders? Fine.
Oh, then professional gamblers.
Yeah, then professional gamblers? Fine. Let's call it that. You know what I mean? And in reality, trading, just like gambling, if you feel good enough about something and you take a big enough shot and you're right, you can live off that money forever.
Yes.
You can live off that money forever.
Yeah.
Provided you're not a complete dumbass.
or like make 6 figures 1 month and like lose 6 figures next month.
Hey. Exactly.
I'm not saying you're a dumbass. That's not what I was saying. I'm just saying you are definitely...
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Exactly right.
So how do you like handle the emotional ups and downs?
All right.
With like...
It's a good question. Now comes the spirituality of
Oh
it.
God, okay.
Why'd you say, oh God? You're so afraid to talk about this stuff.
I am not.
Yes, you are.
Oh God.
Yes, you are.
No, but only because... Okay, for some context, we went to have sushi, and I got a TED Talk I never asked for. And I was like, oh, shit, I signed up for this. No, it's not that I'm afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think it's one thing to talk about it. It's one thing to, I don't know. I think it's easier to talk about it than to actually, okay, I'll shut up now.
You're saying easily to talk about it instead of doing it. Is what you're
For me, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, that's why I'm like, okay.
All right. The spirituality of it, the argument is this.
Okay.
At some point, you know what your life is. You know what your expenses are. You know what it takes to have a decent life, right?
Yeah.
At some point, everybody realizes what that number is or where they want to live, if it's Vancouver, if it's here, if it's there, what kind of life they want to have and what it's going to require, right? Mm-hmm. Now, assuming you've been able to achieve that level or get to somewhere at that level, life becomes pretty simple, right? From a just living perspective. I go do X, Y, and Z. I pay my bills. I'm fine. I can eat. I got a roof over my head. Life is okay. Do I want more? Everybody wants more. Of course.
Yeah.
Everybody wants more. That's why we're trading. We wouldn't be trading if we didn't want more. Right? It's completely flipped up. And then everybody wants to say, no, I'm not doing it for the money. Like, dude, shut up. You're not doing it for the money.
Yeah,
like, what are we talking about here? We're trading every day to make money and you're taking losses and you're suffering. You're telling me just because you want to get the out of here, you're doing it because you want to make money. Just accept it. Why can't people say it? I don't know why. So we want these things. We want to have a different life. We want to be able to help our families. We want to be able to help all kinds of other people with the money that we make. So from a spiritual aspect, you're good though. Life is good. You have food. You're okay, right? So in my opinion, as I'm trading, none of it actually matters. None of the dollars that I'm looking at the screen, it doesn't actually matter. If I get to these wants and desires that I have, great. If I don't, who gives a shit? Who cares? Nobody else cares. There's nobody in my life that cares. It's just me. It's just me and what I'd like to see out of life.
Okay.
If I'm good either way, who gives a I live a life very simple. I'm on the beach every day. I play beach tennis. I trade a little bit, and then I hang out with some friends. I work on some things that I'm passionate about, and then I spend my time learning things that I'm passionate about. I love languages, so I learn languages. I eventually want to try my career in stand-up and things like that, so I'll write little notes.
Yeah.
I'm always writing. My daughter is always needing things. I'm like, my purpose is to be useful to my family and the people around me that I care about and I actually love, right? As you get older, you love and care about less people, right? Because now you realize most people are just out there to take advantage of you or not who they say they are or, all this kind of nonsense. And you learn that as you go along. So at the end of the day, none of that matters. None of it matters. So if I make $1 million and I lose $1 million, does my life change? No. Could it be better if I had the $1 million in my pocket? What are we talking about here? So I can come see you in Vancouver and we can go eat omakase every day. Fine.
Right.
But what am I going to save it for this future thing? Okay, cool. And these are some of the wants and desires I have, but it doesn't matter.
So in that sense, then why do you still want to trade? To make more.
To make more.
But why do you want more?
To be more useful. To be more useful. That's all it is. My father, and you probably, because we're both, first generation Asian. Mm-hmm. My father's purpose in life was always duty. His duty to his family, his duty to his sisters, his brother. That's how they grew up. This is how they grew up. This is how you move, right? You have a duty to your family to do X, Y, and Z, to make them proud and all this kind of stuff. We come over here to America, and there's a whole nother world here. Nobody thinks like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very different mindset.
Nobody thinks like that.
It's a lot of I,
That's
and not
it.
like we.
Exactly. That's all it is. Meanwhile, when I'm at my best self, I'm the most useful to my daughter's mother, to my daughter, to my father, to my mother, to my brother, to my nonprofit, which I care much about, to some of my business partners. These are the people that I'd like to be useful to. Mm-hmm. And there's whole lives that are at stake here, so to speak. So my energy is through these people. And the more that I can do for these people, the better I feel and the more fulfilled that I feel. The more happy I am,
I see.
So, I'm happy doing my own things as well, following my own passions, but as a duty to these people, that's why I do it.
So you're trading to make money.
Yes.
And those money will make you be able to contribute to these people's lives.
Yes. Also to my own. I'd be fool to saying I don't have ego and that I want to have. I would be a complete fool to say that it wasn't selfishly involved as well. Because you have to want to be that person for these other people. Why you, right? Why you? Why does it have to be you? It could be anybody else who doesn't care, who sits at home all day and, is comfortable doing absolutely nothing, right? Why couldn't I be that person? I don't know. I don't know. For me, it's like I find my passion is being useful and to keep going. Shay, this is amazing. I mean, you have a podcast. You've done 40 podcasts. You've amassed, all these subscribers. People look to you as such a, as this social media figure, so to speak, but everybody has this perception of you and you created that. You said, yo, I'm going to do this. And you fucking did it, man. That's what this life is.
I guess so.
There's nothing else here but that. So as human beings, we have this great potential. Every day is freaking ridiculous that we're even alive. And we're ridiculous. It's ridiculous we're able to have these conversations.
Yes.
Look at all this technology we're talking about AI here. I come from California. There's Waymo cars. There's nobody driving in them.
Yeah,
They're just shooting. They're just scuffling people around. This is nuts. It's all nuts. It's all absolutely nuts, and we're a part of it.
Yeah.
So why not be a part of it?
Right.
Don't be lazy about it. Don't be half-assed. Don't sit in your apartment. Go outside, talk to somebody, do something.
Yeah. But like, that's also the opposite of trading.
What do you mean?
Like going outside, do something. That's the opposite of trading.
The lonely life
Yeah.
of the trader.
I know. That's
they haven't figured it out yet, though. Because they
Who's they? Are you talking about me?
No.
I mean, it's fine. Like,
No. They were saying like traders think they think it's still about the money.
But we just talked about it is about the money.
But remember what life is.
Oh my God.
It's such a hypocritical, weird yin and yang thing. You can't have one side without the other. This is what our existence is. We're always one and the other at the same time. So I could sit here and say something, and somebody could say, hey, this guy's full of shit because he's doing this, and they're right too.
Right.
They're right too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It just depends on how you want to look at it. So when I'm saying traders who haven't figured it out yet, they're just looking at it from the money aspect, and that's it. They don't have anything else going on with their lives. They've dumped all their other passions, and there's times for that where you have to do it. Sometimes you have to buckle down. You have to stop talking to everybody, and you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And then once you graduate, I've been in this for 20 years.
Yes.
Once you graduate, there's levels to this. Now you get to a place where it's like, all right, all this stuff is great. But what's my purpose here? Obviously, I'm not sitting in front of this damn screen all day. You said it yourself. You don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't want to sit in front of the screen all day.
You said it yourself. God. Why? Because now you've reached the other level. Now you've reached this other place where you're questioning what you're doing, and you want more purpose, and you're looking for that. So you're starting to arrive.
I'm starting to arrive. It's like in the Matrix. I'm starting to wake up. Is that what you're saying?
There you go. Yeah. Eventually, you start seeing the Matrix here.
Oh, okay. Are you saying you've been out of the Matrix for a while?
Man, we all hop in and we hop out. We're guests here. You know what I mean? We're guests. We hop in and we hop out every day. Sometimes we're better. Sometimes we're worse. But that's what it is to be human. You know. But if you're gonna be human, be a human, man. Do something. Do something with the time that you have here, because it's a blessing. And do something. Get off your ass and do something.
Do you have a figure in mind to stop?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know exactly what
we talked about this too. We talked about this too. And you questioned me because you're absolutely right. Because anybody who has a figure, that figure is and it's gonna change.
You always add a zero after you get there. I know.
I've met all the traders who add zeros and add zeros and add zeros and add zeros.
But so when does it stop?
It never stops, Jay.
Oh, man.
Why should it? Why should it? It's just a choice. Why should it ever stop? Remember what I just said. We're humans. Get off your ass and go do something. Yeah. If you want to make $1 billion, go make $1 billion. If you want to make 100 million, go make 100 million. If you want to make 10, make the 10, you know? But realize either one of them, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Nobody's going to give a about you. Nobody cares. Half these people who make the billion, nobody can stand them anyway. Their employees, their families, they got relationships with their families. You want that? Is that worth $1 billion to you? I don't know. You make the choice. Who am I to judge you? I ain't.
True.
So I have a number. Contrary to popular belief, I believe that once I hit that number,
really, you're gonna stop.
No, I'm not gonna stop.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop.
At least you're honest about it.
I'm not gonna stop.
Okay. No,
but
not gonna stop.
But I'll adjust a little bit. You know what I mean? I'll adjust.
I like to think that once I hit my number, I'm still gonna trade, but I'm gonna trade so little that I never suffer.
Exactly.
From trading. Like I'll suffer elsewhere.
You suffer elsewhere though.
Yeah, exactly.
You suffer elsewhere.
You're just picking where you suffer in your life, I think.
Well, what well, I shouldn't say religions per se, but the doctrines that you and I came from in the East, what do they say? What is the tenet of Buddhism? What is it, Shay?
Life is suffering.
Life is suffering, ladies and gentlemen. So we know this. It's part of who we are here. We know this growing up. You know, the West doesn't look at it that way.
Right.
Because if you say that to the West, they get offended. They get offended and they say, no, you know, it's not like that. It's not, all this kind of stuff. But again, you haven't reached that point of looking at your thoughts and looking at the way that you live as suffering. Because again, you're suffering life. Meaning you're suffering the thoughts in your mind. You're suffering all this nonsense that you think matters, that it doesn't matter. That is what suffering is. And the West doesn't like it when you say it. But you and I this is what we were brought up on.
Yeah.
And it's fucking true. It's true. So while we're here, live it.
Yeah.
Live it because we're gone anyway. And then the suffering will end at some point, I'm sure. That's it.
Someday the suffering will become listening to your stand-up. Just kidding. I cannot wait for you to do that one day.
Oh man, I enjoy. You know what I enjoy?
Is that after you hit your number or before?
It's all happening in the same time, kind of thing. You know, and remember, it takes time for you to develop an idea of what you want your life to be.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you just want the money. You want the money. You want this. You want that. And then at some point, you realize. Doesn't matter. After you go through enough relationships and heartbreak and failed this and failed that, you get to this point where you're like, all right, this is who I care about, and this is what I want my life to look like. So now I just want to have fun, man. Do you know how much fun I've been having just hopping around on the West Coast? Just meeting with people that I know.
Yeah.
People come out, they take care of me. You know, we spend time together and it's amazing. We're just sharing energy and I love that the most. And I want to do that all over the world in different languages. And I want that. I want to feel that energy all over the world. And that's what makes me happy. And I want to do it with my daughter.
Yeah.
I want to do it with the people that, you know, just want to come along. And that's it. That's it. That is literally it.
I think it's safe to say that you've graduated.
Oh, you can tell, huh?
I can tell. I can tell.
I mean, I still got million up and down P&L.
Okay, well. Just don't post that on social media.
Yeah,
though.
don't post
just don't post it.
Yeah.
No.
I get roasted now even more so than
Really?
before. Yeah, for posting losses. Now the trolling has taken another level. Do you remember what it was to be kids growing up? Like in this country, kids are brutal to each other. Like the stuff that they say to each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's brutal.
I remember.
Especially if you're, you know, I was first generation. It wasn't cool to be Indian in the 80s. Like,
you had it way harder.
Yeah, all these people had to go on was like Apu from The Simpsons. So we were all Apu from The Simpsons, and it just wasn't cool.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's doing yoga. It's namaste this. It's, I had a chai the other day.
Chai tea
looking at these people
latte.
like, shut the dude, what the 20 years ago, you told me, you know, X, Y, and Z. Now you're telling me, you know, I'm the coolest person. Like, get
But you've done your suffering 20 years ago.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's brought you here.
There you
so
go.
it's okay. It's okay. Let it go. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to cover that we haven't covered in our podcast?
You know, I want to talk about you.
This is the part I can decide if I want to cut out.
No. Honestly, there's nothing. I'm just enjoying this conversation with you, and it's great that you were able to put it out there to such an audience that maybe they'll be able to take some things away from it, and
I'm glad.
Hopefully it'll be able to help them out in their journeys, and if not, it's just another piece of content that'll finally dissolve into nothingness at some point, right?
No, this will serve as an evidence for soon. We better see your stand-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You put it out there. You gotta redeem it. Hopefully in a couple of years.
I'm gonna come to you for some Chinese jokes. For some Taiwanese jokes.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm gonna come for you.
Oh, okay. Where can people find you on social media?
Okay. Just find me. You can find me on sanglucci.com.
Okay.
My main trading is called Steam Room Trading.
Okay.
And that's where you find all the 0 day. That's where you find all the 0 day stuff.
Oh, okay.
And that's where where, that's where the juice is. That's where the game
juice is.
You know, so that's where the options 0 DTE and futures trading is going down.
Okay. Yeah. One last question.
Sure.
Truth or false?
Okay.
Once you reach a certain dollar figure, you'll be happy.
False.
Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
You knew the answer to that question.
I just want to hear it.
You knew the answer to that question.
I just want to hear it coming from you. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing so much wisdom. And again, the TED Talk we never asked for.
That's what I do. I realize that's my pocket. Like, that's my value in this space that we're all in. And, because some of the traders that have reached $50 million, $100 million, you'll never talk to them. They're not on social media. Yeah. You'll never say a word to them unless you live in the places where these people live. I happen to live in the places where these people live, and I talk to them on a daily basis. And they're so inspiring. And the way that they look at trading and the way that they look at life, they've reached those places where everybody who's watching this podcast wants to reach. They've reached this work-life balance where they trade only during specific times where things get extreme. Like that freaking Circle IPO or something like that. They'll crawl out of hiding from their damn mansions and their boats, and they'll go to work for 3 days straight. They won't sleep, and they'll take those whales down for millions of dollars, and then they'll go back on their boats and houses and whatever it is that they're doing. So
the 2-3 trades a year kind of life.
That's them. So what amazing. I can bring to this space is my wisdom, and telling half of these people, just shut the man, shut up. The stuff that's being said like on social media about this stuff, but again, it's human beings.
You think those traders who reach where we all want to go, do you think they're happier?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. I'll tell you why. Because they've reached a place where the money doesn't matter. They still enjoy the game, but they spend all their time doing what they want to do. They spend all their time doing what they want to do. So they're not slaves to any of this stuff. And they're in games that are far bigger than any of the games that you and I are playing. So absolutely, 100%. So they're able to compartmentalize trading from what they really want to do, and they're spending most of their time on what they really want to do. But they'll come in to trade because they already know.
They want to. They're drawn.
They already know.
Yeah.
They don't need to be involved in any of this stuff. Yeah. They need to be involved when it's time to be involved.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they're gone.
It's good to know that it's possible to get to those places.
I've seen small cap traders almost reach $1 billion. Shay.
Oh my God.
We're talking about small caps
here.
How the do you move? How do you move that in small caps? What are we talking? There's futures traders down there, energy traders who've reached hundreds of millions of dollars, but they're just going after these big. You remember when oil went negative?
During 2021 or something? Yeah.
Some of these guys came out richer than life, man.
Oh, damn. That's crazy.
Just because they traded at these moments. And that was it.
So in some ways, once you reach that dollar figure, you'd be happy. In some ways.
In some ways. Yeah. It's always possible.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sang Lucci. Shay. Thank you so much, Shay, for showing me Vancouver as well. For anybody who hasn't been to Vancouver, good God. And you like Asian food or South Asian food, whew.
This is the place to be.
This is the place to be.
Yeah. So just don't become a citizen, though. You have to pay taxes. Ridiculous.
Take care, everybody. Thanks, Shay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So, was that what you expected from Sang Lucci? After 2 decades of trading, it's clear that his edge isn't just in the markets and tape reading. It's in his awareness, his discipline, and his willingness to face the uncomfortable truths that most traders avoid. If you ever struggled with overtrading, doubt, or the emotional weight of this career, I hope that this conversation today helped you feel a little less alone. Drop a comment down below with your biggest takeaway, or if you have any follow-up questions for Sang Lucci. I'll make sure that he sees them. And if you want to hear from other veteran traders with real stories and no fluff, make sure to check out the rest of the podcast playlist over here.